I used to think PIMS was just a drink from England, but that word has taken on a whole new meaning in the computer field. PIMS with one M, P-I-M-S, is an acronym for Personal Information Management Software. It's a whole new category of software that's generating lots of excitement. Things like Agenda from Lotus and GrandView from Symantec. Today we take a look at PIMS. No, not this kind. Personal Information Management Software on this edition of the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte magazine, and BIX, the Byte Information Exchange. In print and online, Byte and BIX serve computer professionals worldwide with detailed information on new hardware, software, and technologies.
Welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stewart Cheifet, and this is Gary Kildall. Gary, it seems the computer industry has all of a sudden recognized we have problems managing our information. Programs all over the place. Focal Point running under HyperCard on the Mac. A new program guide from AL for 286 and 386 machines. MemoryMate from Broderbund runs on a simple PC. On the hardware side, 32K of memory, 1,500 things you can store inside this Casio digital diary with very sophisticated management capability. The Scion organizer, you can download Focal Point files into this thing. And finally, the Wrist Mac. You can download HyperCard stacks through the cable onto that little wristwatch. Why this sudden recognition that we have the need to manage our information?
Well, Stuart, I don't think it's a sudden realization. It used to be called a personal secretary, I think.
Okay.
Or find that letter I wrote to Joe last week,
Yes,
or enter this appointment in my calendar, and then let me know ahead of time so I can be there, proper time. And another thing I think that's a factor is that a lot of the information we have now is stored on the disk. It's in digital form. It's not a piece of paper laying in a drawer somewhere. So we can cross-reference it. We can find things with using a hypertext system, whatever it happens to be. So I think what we're doing is we're automating a lot of the secretarial functions that we've seen before.
Gary, today we'll take a look at some of the top-rated PIMS. We'll look at Eyes, GrandView, Agenda, Tornado, and Ask Sam. And we're going to start by visiting a small business and find out how it manages its information using a program from Valor Software called InfoXL.
It may not seem likely at first glance, but these carefree surfers have been touched by a new category of software called the Personal Information Manager. The surfers' wetsuits, boards, and accessories were designed by O'Neal Incorporated, a California-based company famous for originating the first insulated wetsuit. Today, O'Neal's Director of Systems and Operations relies on a package called InfoXL to help plan and carry out his company's rapid expansion.
The interesting thing about the advent of this technology is that we get information from a variety of sources and in a variety of manners. We get free-form text, we get structured information, numbers and so forth from reports. InfoXL, in its variety of windows, provides me with the different structures and the ability to customize my screen to enter that information into free-form text, comments field, structured text into a daily appointment log or outlining, and it allows me to search on any one of those windows.
InfoXL is a multi-window organizer that sorts and relates information either by name, by task, or by date. The multiple window configuration provides a visual relationship between person or company, dates, and any associated comments. It's not quite a desktop organizer nor an outliner, but it encompasses qualities of both.
The Personal Information Manager provides me a information base that I can query quickly and easily to provide quick and accurate information to people who need it. That's my function.
To make a search or connection, InfoXL will respond to partial or approximate spellings. Since information is linked together as it is entered, the program will also let you use a number of different approaches or open searches to find the desired word, subject, or date. While personal information managers may not have the refined judgment of a personal secretary, it's clear that they have much to offer to anyone with a job to do and a schedule to keep.
Joining us in the studio now is Denise Creasy. She's Vice President of Micrologic Corporation, makers of Tornado. And next to Denise, Mac McKinney, President of Ask Sam Systems. Gary?
Mac, it looks like we have a new term now. It's called Personal Information Management Software. It seems to cover a whole variety of packages. What kind of things do we expect to find in the category of PIMS?
Well, the ability to store random information, free-form textual information, to retrieve it based upon ad hoc queries, to be able to produce reports from that information with or without fields being included originally.
So it's like traditional database management, except it's free field, whatever.
It may be entirely free form, or it may have certain fields defined.
Now, does it go beyond that, or is that pretty much what you consider PIMS?
I'm sorry?
Or is there anything else beyond that? Yeah.
Well, in ours, for example, we have just recently incorporated hypertext that augments what we already had for our
we'll be able to see
retrieval.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty soon. Denise, you have a package that's called Tornado. Can you talk about that a little bit? Tell us what it's about.
Sure. Tornado is a memory resident program, and it's used to keep track of the kind of information that you're most likely to lose track of during the day, the kinds of things you'd put on notes and papers, and you're in the middle of something and you get a phone call and you want to remember the number or the name, and you jot it down somewhere and you put it aside for safekeeping, and then when you need it you can't find it.
So the analogy is all those pieces of paper that are normally scattered on your desk in a real world work environment.
Right.
Okay, you've got WordPerfect up here on the computer, and
yes,
as you said, Tornado is memory resident here. Show us how you'd actually use it.
Okay, if I was editing this document, I remembered I had to call Harry later on. I would access Tornado by the use of 2 keystrokes. And this is what a typical Tornado screen looks like. Each window on the screen simulates a piece of paper or note that you would have. And if you wanted to look through them, you would use your cursor keys, and you can go down. It gives you, various screens.
So the active screen is the one that has the yellow bar around it.
Right, right. The current window is the darker blue.
And when you first call up Tornado, what particular pieces of paper are on the screen? How's that determined?
Okay, that's just information that you've entered previously.
So the most recent pieces of paper essentially would come up on the screen?
Right, unless you've decided to rearrange the order, because you can move your notes around. So if I went...
So each window is a separate little note you've made at some time?
Right,
okay.
Right. And now I want to enter a new one about Harry. It's as easy as pressing N for a new note, and I can remind myself to call Harry about meeting. Okay, pressing Escape twice will close up the new window. Now, when I speak to Harry, if I want to talk to him about some price quotes that I've already entered in Tornado, I can get that window of information by simply pressing G for Get, and I'm shown an overview of all of the windows that of information that I've entered so far.
So all those little white boxes represent windows that are in its memory.
Right. Okay, and then on the bottom left corner of the screen it asks for a key. Now with Tornado you don't have to define keywords. Each word in every window acts as a keyword. So I'll search for quotes. So Q. You notice that the boxes that don't match the search begin to disappear.
So the windows left are only ones that have a word with Q in it, for example? Okay.
U, O, and before I can finish typing the word, it's found and displayed on the screen. Now if I want to print this out, I would simply type P for print and then 1, because in this case I want to print out one window. It can be any number of windows. Now if I want to call Harry now, I have all my information together for the phone call. I would type G for Get and begin typing Harry, H-A-R, and that takes me right down to just 3 windows. So pressing Enter will show me the 3 windows on Harry. The one in the middle has his phone number. So once I've called him and spoken with him, I don't need to remind myself any longer that I need to call him. So I can throw this window away in the upper left corner by typing T for throw And on the bottom right, I'm shown a trash can.
Or T for trash can?
All right.
Okay, so you dump that one piece of paper.
And it does have a safeguard. It asks you if you're sure, so if you've changed your mind, you can bring it back. But since we are sure, we'll type yes and it'll be gone.
Okay, quickly, Denise, I believe there's a function which you can get from program to program through Tornado?
Yes, that's correct. Tornado can serve as a bridge between programs. So if I'm working in a spreadsheet, for example, I can grab that information into Tornado. Okay, I can edit the information down so that it doesn't look quite like a spreadsheet, and then I can include it in a report on my word processor. I can just...
So that page becomes a Tornado piece of paper, which you then paste into some other
into another
application.
program, right. It also works with other personal information managers as a bridge, and there the information is.
Good. Denise, I'm going to ask you to slide the keyboard over to Mac so we can take a look at Ask Sam.
Oh, yes, let's...
If you can sort of dump out of there. And as you said, Denise, Tornado is memory resident.
Yes, it is.
Okay, Ask Sam, how would Ask Sam be different, Mac, from what we just saw?
Well, Ask Sam that you explicitly loaded. We don't have a pop-up on it yet. And now let me just show you here.
Sure.
Oops, I think I have to do CD again.
Whoops, yeah. You've got to get to the right directory there, I
Okay, yeah.
suppose.
My typing leaves
Denise,
something.
while he's loading that, what's the price on something like Tornado?
Tornado is currently retailing at $99.95.
Okay.
Okay, so
by the
we're
way,
at
that
Ask
first
Sam.
screen that came up there, it automatically popped up into the hypertext mode, and I just escaped back to the main menu so we can
Okay.
start from some ground
Oh, so
zero.
just run us through Ask Sam, Mac.
Okay. Well, you can create files and delete them and swap from one to the other. You can, in this case here, my demo that I have, it's all under the hypertext mode, so
Okay.
let's go to it. And this one, every line here in effect is behaving like a menu item. And with this, then I can go over to another record in this
So it's going to search
file.
on that highlighted string and find
Exactly.
that in the
And it looks in the
list of notes,
current
right?
file in this case for every occurrence that matches. And this is just some notes here to describe sort of a metaphor we've come up with on what Ask Sam is like. And our vision of an information manager. It's sort of like a file barrel where you can throw stuff in the file barrel, you can put it in any order you wish and retrieve it based upon anything in it. You can update stuff in it. You can, if you have any natural order whatsoever in it or any explicit order like field names.
Well, can you show us an example?
Surely, I'd be happy to. Here's some natural order right here. This is a record that perhaps you've imported from a word processor. These are maybe your memos. And
So the natural order in this case is a date field.
the word's date, the word's to, the word from. In Ask Sam, any word can be used as a field name. And this record here, by the way, will be used subsequently here. This is a little program that sorts memos. And what that's done, it's taken that same memo and some others that are in the same file and rearranged them and selected and sorted by the last name. And
So basically what you can do is you're doing full text search here, right, on matching words and then so I guess what they call sideways browse sometimes when you can go from field to field like that.
right. Everything in every record is fair game for linking with every other record in Ask Sam. It's a natural, sort of intrinsic links exist. Here, for example, is a program that has a dialogue. This one, perhaps, if I'm in the word Mike, it'll bring me up the record that contains Mike, or every record in the file that contains that. You can also produce business reports with it, numerical business reports with control breaks and the like, page headings, and all. And anything you can output to the screen, you can output to disk or printer as well, of course.
In your use of hypertext here, Mac, a lot of people, of course, familiar with HyperCard now in the Macintosh environment. Would this be a similar way of sort of branching out along any dimension into information?
Except for the fact in HyperCard you must have hard links, explicitly stated links, and in Ask Sam everything is a link. Here is another view that we can use of Ask Sam in hypertext. This notes, by the way, is a file name, and that just swapped to a different file. And this file has some questions and answers that I thought you might be interested in knowing. I won't belabor going through all of these, but anyway, you can keep those. And that's just showing you one way of getting it out. Here's a different way of getting it out, the same information rearranged and formatted within
This is the question
margins.
really for both of you. Are you doing what they call a total inversion of the data? In other words, a full symbol table that tells you where every word is ahead of time?
No, my first couple of prototypes did that, and I took it out several years ago.
amount of information
it's a
managing
full
is not that
text
much.
scan these days.
Yeah.
And we can index in SAM, but mostly it's all just full text
Not
scan.
pre-indexed.
Denise Mack, thank you very much. At the high end of the PIMS market is something called EYES. It's very pricey, but its users say it's very powerful. Wendy Woods has a report.
For 20 years, UC Berkeley's Institute for the Study of Social Change has been doing important social research. Unfortunately, most of the 20 years of research on subjects from longshoremen to crime are stored on index cards and audio tape, materials from which it is nearly impossible to retrieve information quickly and efficiently. That's why computers have become indispensable. Field notes, interviews, and reports are now written and stored on computer. And researchers are looking for tools that will help them analyze it all.
The hardest part with text data is that it's incredibly tedious. It's almost, you just have to reread and reread.
EYES, spelled I-Z-E, is one of several packages under study. EYES will make outlines of diverse documents put into its database, showing the frequency with which keywords appear. But it won't go beyond ideas the person has already decided are significant. A big drawback for those who want one package to do it all.
The problem is that we can say, well, here, this is a product which will do so much. And they say, oh, that's interesting. But then they say, well, what happens if I want to do this? They say, well, here's another product. And a lot of people don't want to learn 10 or 15 different packages.
Which is why this part of UC Berkeley is still going through all these personal information managers, looking for the right tool for the job. In Berkeley, California, for the Computer Chronicles, I'm Wendy Woods.
With us in the studio now is John Friend. He's the author of GrandView from Symantec, and next to John is Andrew Hammond, marketing manager with Lotus, and their product, of course, is Agenda. Gary?
John, we're defining this new area of personal information management, and we've just seen two products that handle notes, essentially, on your desk. Is there more to personal information management than that?
Personal information management is a huge category, and GrandView really addresses three main items in that category. It addresses planning, organizing, and writing.
Now, Andrew, how about, can you add more to that story about what is PIM?
Well, we see it's really delivering a benefit in terms of managing information, taking those random chunks of information that we all deal with, whether it's email, yellow stickies, something in the Wall Street Journal, and having a place to store, manipulate, and analyze that information.
Okay. John, could you show us GrandView? Tell us about it.
Sure. GrandView has three main views to the product. It has outline view, category view, and document view, and we'll start in outline view here. And I'm going to pretend that I'm a manufacturing manager in a disk drive plant, and I just gotten GrandView, and I want to use it to plan for a meeting that I have, a weekly meeting. So I enter some of the items that I normally discuss in the meeting. I discuss production numbers. I discuss cost reduction ideas.
With the caps lock key in.
Discuss the caps lock key.
Right. I discuss cost reduction ideas. And I could enter a number of different items here. I'll switch to another outline where I've already entered some. So this is the basic outline of what I want to discuss in the meeting. We go into the meeting, and we run through each of these items and expand on them and assign responsibility for various items. So I might find out that product 1001 did 98% of plan last quarter, and that product 1100 only did 50% of plan last quarter, and I want to write down some notes why it did that. They had a severe parts shortage, and you could go into some more detail like that. So after we've gone through each of the items here, we might have something like this, where for each one of the main items I had, their shipments, quality, cost reduction products. We have a lot of detail.
Okay, you're still in outline mode.
Right, I'm still in outline
And
mode,
you've modified the outline with new information.
Right, we've added a number of a bunch of information to the outline. So this by itself would be a great meeting minutes to pass out to the people in the meeting, and they'd understand what additional responsibilities they had. But in addition to this, we can go into category view, single key, we go into category view here. And now
how are these categories set up? What is
they're user-defined categories.
Okay.
The same information that we saw in the outline is, instead of being organized by project and sub-project, is now organized by person responsible. So I can choose the category I want, choose the person I want, and I can see the different items that are assigned to that person. And I could print out a report for each of the people in the meeting right here.
So you've sort of resorted the information by the key of who the person is related to that item.
Exactly, and that's the key to category view, what it allows you to do. And you could create a printed report for each person, and GrandView supports some very nice printer capabilities.
And so other categories might be priorities, which you could have plugged in there, the date, et cetera.
Right, so instead of looking at by person responsibility, you can key on it by priority.
And there's a third view, you said.
Right, the third view is document view, and at any place in the outline you can switch into document view and you can write memos and reports and whatnot. So in addition to just printing this out at meeting time, we could follow up for the next weekly meeting, and using the network support built into GrandView, these people could access this very same outline here, and instead of they could, if Amy decides that instead of 2 weeks, this is going to take 6 weeks, she can change it accordingly.
All right, could you get out of GrandView, John? And
Sure.
I want to give Andrew a chance to show us agenda.
Sure.
And while you're sliding that keyboard over, how would you position GrandView? As Gary was suggesting at the beginning, this PIMS describes a whole category of
Yes,
software.
it does.
Where's GrandView in that range?
Well, it's specifically aimed at those three items I mentioned, at planning, organizing, and writing, and the day-to-day kind of stuff you do with those.
Okay, Andrew, where is agenda in the spectrum of PIMS?
We see agenda really as almost defining the category in terms of providing a full environment for managing information. The history of agenda, very briefly, Lotus founder, Mitch Kapoor, obviously, actually created agenda. And he found that he was too busy getting anything accomplished. What distinguishes agenda is the fact that it does have a full environment, which is customizable and flexible enough to meet almost any need in terms of managing
maybe let's see
information.
if that's the best
Sure,
way
why
to
don't we go
explain it.
and do that? There's three basic components to agenda: items, categories, and views. These are items. Behind an item can be a note, which is any backup information that you may want to have attached to an item. To insert an item, I simply start typing call Bill today.
What's the difference in the icons on the left there, Andrew? I see little music note signs versus dots.
That denotes, if you will, a note.
Oh,
that
okay,
is-
that's a note. Okay.
Exactly. So but I can actually create a note on this item by hitting F5, call today, whatever background information we want to have,
okay.
and then there'll be a note there. That note can also be scanned in information, an imported ASCII file, or a linked external file as well. Now we actually organize this information by creating categories. In this case, I want to know who's assigned each of these plans, so I will bring up a people category, and Agenda actually is going through and making this assignment for me automatically. If I go in and actually edit,
Is that sort of doing what we just saw GrandView do in a way, is sort of reorganize the information by the people involved in them?
to some degree, yes.
Okay.
Let's say, though, instead of Liz, I want Tom. You see that that agenda actually assigned Tom as well.
Part of that assignment.
Exactly.
Now, wait a minute. How did it get Tom's part assigned? Just by scanning that?
Exactly. By going through the actual text, after hitting enter, it scans through.
So the possible kind of things you could have under the people category would be Liz, Tom, and so forth, and then it picks it up from the line.
Right. Or any term that you wanted to use. I'm just having to use categories here. As well, we'd obviously want to know when these actual plans would be due, so we'll bring up a when column. And again, agenda scanning through the text, picking up on Thursday and assigning it a calendar date. Again, I can edit this. Let's say next week.
And the date,
and the date will change.
Right.
Now, the last thing I mentioned, items, categories, and views. Items, the information is stored. Categories, how we organize it. Lastly, how we actually look at the information, in this case, is views. And here we have the same information sliced and diced, if you will, by Liz, Bob, and Jim. We're looking at who's responsible for this actual information. Let me actually move to a different file now. This will show us how Agenda helps you actually make decisions. In this case, we have listings of properties from the Los Angeles Times, and I want to find your dream home, so to speak. So we'll bring up two different categories. Let's just say the vista or view, and Agenda scans through and brings up what that view is. As well, I'll bring up how many bedrooms that has. It makes a match on that. We'll then use the screening capabilities to go to bedrooms and to ocean. And Agenda's taken about 30 properties, and based on that criteria, given us those two that they want to go out and see. Both are examples of different sorts of Agenda applications. People use Agenda quite a bit in people and project tracking sorts of applications, but as well there are decision modeling applications. And one of the most exciting areas that we've seen in recent past, as the portable technologies come down to being more and more compact and smaller, the combination of a laptop or portable with Agenda becomes a great management tool as well.
Okay, where are we finally and quickly on price? Where about is GrandView and Agenda, John?
GrandView's at $295 retail.
And Los Agenda's at $395 single copy retail.
Okay, I think we know a little bit more about PIMS, gentlemen. Thanks very much. That's our look at personal information management software. Stay tuned now for this week's Computer News.
In the Random Access file this week, it was Macworld Expo time in San Francisco last week as the latest Macintosh products were unveiled. Among them, a new laser printer from NEC that features the 68020-based Atlas controller from Adobe. That triples the throughput speed. The printer can also emulate an HP LaserJet 2. It comes with 4 megabytes of RAM. Digital Vision announced Computer Eyes, a grayscale digitizer for the Mac, which provides 256 levels of gray at a cost of only $250. Competitive products have been priced at over $1,000. Knowledge Set announced a new Macintosh version of its Knowledge Retrieval System, or KRS, for use in retrieving data from a CD-ROM. The product lets you transparently share CD-ROM data among Macintosh, MS-DOS, and Unix systems. Knowledge Set also released HyperKRS, which lets you search and retrieve HyperCard stacks from a CD-ROM. And Banyan Systems announced a new Mac PC electronic mail system that lets Macs and MS-DOS machines trade email over the Vine's multi-user operating system. We'll have a special show devoted to the Macworld Expo coming up in just a few weeks. Digital Equipment Corporation has unveiled a new line of desktop computers, including 3 MS-DOS PCs using the 286 and 386 Intel chips. Digital also announced a new VAX workstation and 2 new RISC-based workstations designed to compete head-on with RISC workstations from Sun Microsystems. The DEC machines are reportedly faster and cheaper than the competing Sun products. Sun was also attacked from another side as Soulborn Computers announced a new clone of the Sun 4 workstation based on the SPARC CPU. The Open Software Foundation has unveiled its new graphic user interface for Unix. It's called Motif, and it provides a standard MS-DOS type interface for systems running OSF's version of Unix. Hewlett-Packard is phasing out its old Vectra laptop and slashing the price by about a third as it introduces its new LS12 laptop, which is reported to be the same as the Zenith Supersport 286. HP also introduced 2 new 386 desktops. Finally, if you've seen those new handheld computerized dictionaries and spell checkers, don't buy one. There's a new version coming out that talks. The Franklin Language Master 4000 has a vocabulary of 83,000 words. Type in a word and it not only checks the spelling, but it pronounces the word for you. It's the first low-cost consumer use of Berkeley Speech Technology's text-to-speech conversion system. The Franklin Language Master will sell for under $300. That's it for this week's Random Access. I'm Cynthia Steele.
The Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by McGraw-Hill, publishers of Byte Magazine, and VIX, the Byte Information Exchange. In print and online, Byte and VIX serve computer professionals worldwide with detailed information on new hardware, software, and technologies.
For a transcript of this week's Computer Chronicles, send $4 to PTV Publications, Post Office Box 701, Kent, Ohio 44240. Please indicate program date.